Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is July 31st, 2023, the anniversary of the death of Ignatius of Loyola. And in the news today, two deaths. We already covered the first one, the death of the young 17-year-old Team USA cyclist. He died yesterday, Sunday, and so did Paul Reubens, who played Pee Wee Herman, and who was born Paul Rubenfeld. And it's interesting that the name Rubenfeld means ruby, and he's dead in the month of July. And if you're born in July, your birthstone is a ruby. I'm aware of that one because I am born in July. But notice his birth name, Paul Rubenfeld, before he changed his name for Hollywood, had the gematria of 70. And we're going to get to why he really died Sunday, July 30th. It's very specific. It comes shortly after the anniversary of his humiliation ritual in 1991, being arrested for masturbating in a theater. And we'll get to why it matters that it's 32 years later. That happened July 26th, 1991. He died 4 days after the anniversary, the 32nd anniversary. And when he was arrested, it was 32 days before his upcoming birthday at the time. But if you're new here, gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. Of course, Kabbalah comes from Jewish mysticism. Of course, Paul Reubens was Jewish, as so many people in Hollywood are. And again, so many people in Hollywood also die by this Kabbalistic code that is so repetitive. If you watch my video this morning on the death of the 17-year-old cyclist, we're about to get into the exact same pattern in the death of Paul Reubens because it's super redundant and we talk about it all the time. As we mentioned, yesterday, Sunday, was a date with 44 numerology, and that number is highly connected to death and killing. It is the rep digit of 4, and the number 4 is associated with death. And again, he's dead 4 days after the anniversary of being arrested for masturbating in a theater. But notice, his Hollywood name, Paul Reubens, gematria 44. The word kill, gematria 44. If you're new here, code's very simple. It's ABC is 1, 2, 3. It's also the alphabetic order with numerology, and then the other half of the code is just running the alphabetic order in reverse and running it in reverse with numerology. For example, Paul Rubenfeld equals 70 when you run the alphabetic order in reverse with numerology. Paul Reubens is 44 when you run the alphabetic order with numerology. And kill's just 44 with the most simple cipher. ABC is 1, 2, 3 up to Z, the 26 letters, 26. Furthermore, notice how Paul Reubens is 44 forwards, 64 in reverse, just like how kill is 44 forwards, 64 in reverse, and Pee Wee Herman is also 64. And again, we talked about the Colorado cyclist, dead at age 17. The day that he died on was the date with 44 numerology. It was also a date with 17 numerology. And notice how Paul Reubens is also 163. That's the 38th prime number. He was 38 years old when he was ritually shamed for masturbating in the theater. And like we talked about, 38 is the number of death. Thus, the latest death in Colorado, the 38th state where Colorado equals 38, like murder, like killing, like RIP. Again, this is what it looks like with the 4 base ciphers. Furthermore, the Pee Wee Herman character debuted in 1977. That was 46 years ago. As we know, Sacrifice 46, Genesis 46 begins with the sacrifice. July 30th leaves 154 days left in the year. Ritual sacrifice equals 154. It's also a big-time number connected to Saturn. And again, Saturn's connected to the Grim Reaper and death. But here it was, the mugshot from July 26th, 1991, Paul Reubens. And again, that was 32 years ago. Masturbating in a theater is what he was arrested for 32 days before his birthday. Notice how theater has the gematria of 32. If you're new here, so does the word America, so does the word Scottish. The 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite shares the Ad Merum Dei Gloriam motto with the Jesuits, who have 32 sun rays on their logo. And what we're about to get into is how it's very clear that this is another Jesuit ritual perfectly synced with the first Jesuit pope, Pope Francis. Thus, the death on Sunday, the day of the week to worship the sun, where the Catholic Church is truly a sun-worshiping cult, what they began as. And again, they're also the church that gave us the calendar we're on, so we're on their time schedule, and the English language. That's why they gave us the word sun as the sun in the sky and as a male offspring, where they've immortalized their sun worship in a man that they have people drinking his blood on Sunday and eating his body and believing in magical fairy tales and waiting for... Oh, never mind. Let's just get back to the death of Paul Reubens. But anyway, Paul Reubens, born August 27th, so July 26th, 32 days before his birthday at the time. And it was synced with his 39th birthday. 39 books in the Old Testament. Maybe one of the 10 commandments that got erased is thou shalt not masturbate. Who knows? Anyway, Pee Wee Herman, he began playing the part in the HBO special in 1981, home box office, about the most Jesuit thing on all of the Jesuit tube. But 1981 was 42 years ago. As we know, Jesuit equals 42. As we know, home box office equals 54 and 72, like Jesuit order. As we know, HBO equals 56, like Society of Jesus, like Pope, like Paul Rubenfeld. And by the way, 56 and 70 are a mathematical pairing, because 56 is 70 in base 8 counting. Again, he's dead at age 70. But here's the big one. Home box office is also 225. And he's dead 225 days after the Pope's birthday. And of course, that number goes with the Trinitarian formula, and that's another big sick Catholic joke, that number. Remember the whole George Floyd thing? Killed on the 225th day of his age, and then Derek Chauvin got 22 and a half years in prison. And the day after the George Floyd news, the Catholic Church of Minnesota paid sexual abuse victims, families of abused children, $22.5 million. So, again, the Catholic Church in 225, it's a long one. And... you know, I guess in a way the Pee Wee Herman story has a lot to do with maybe, just like sort of like sexual traumatic abuse in children, because children watched Pee Wee Herman, like myself when I was a child. I guess I had just turned I had just turned 8 years old. You know, as a child, he was aware of Pee Wee Herman, and then that was the big news that he was masturbating in a theater. And as an 8-year-old, you don't exactly understand that, but you got an idea. And it was kind of like this weird... Anyway... But, again, 225 days after the Pope's birthday, you know, he became rich and famous because of HBO. And as I'm always explaining, if you're new here, HBO is the most Jesuit thing on TV. A lot of actors who die in connection to that network die in big fat Jesuit rituals, and there's a lot of them that we've covered over the years. And, yeah, Bill Maher's the perfect example, you know, little midget, not funny guy, half Catholic, half Jewish, just like the Jesuits, and, you know, just spouting a bunch of crap every Friday night and getting paid millions to do it. And, you know, to his credit, sometimes things that he says are true, but mostly what he says is bullshit. Anyhow, also dead on a Sunday is Reubens, and notice how Reubens is 84, like Sunday, like Jesuit. Keep in mind, today is the anniversary of the death of Ignatius of Loyola, who died in 1556, 84 days before his birthday. Pope Francis is the first Jesuit pope. 12 plus 17 plus 19 plus 36 is 84. Thus, he has 84 birth numerology. Orwell's 1984 was a warning. He was a member of the Fabian Society, established in 1884. So going back and looking at Pee Wee Herman, that HBO premiere was September 11th, 1981. The Pee Wee Herman Show on 9/11 of all days. And it's like a 20-year countdown. But keep in mind, Vatican and Francis both have the gematria of 70 forwards, like how he's dead at age 70, and 119 in reverse, like the date 11/9. And in Jewish gematria, Vatican Hill's 9/11. But anyhow, the day that they saved the news for is a date with 81 numerology. The Pee Wee Herman Show equals 81. So we're getting the news on a date with 81 numerology. The show began in the year 81. Get the sick joke? That's what it is. One sick joke after the next. And from his last birthday to his death was 337 days. And that is the 68th prime number. Caskets go 6 feet deep or 8 feet long. Again, 337, the 68th prime, 6'8". Helios equals 68, which is another number for the sun, fitting in with the sun-worshipping cult ritual. The word planet is also 68, like Helios, like Catholicism, like mathematics, like solar system, like all the big Catholic rituals that went down in 1968 that led up to September 11th, including World Trade Center construction beginning, 911 being made the National Emergency Dialing Code, 2001 A Space Odyssey coming out, Boeing debuting their jumbo jetliners, George W. Bush graduating from Yale and Skull and Bones. So I do find that interesting. And yeah, the only other thing that that stood out to me that could be coincidental or not is he went to Boston University, which is very Catholic city, Boston. But Boston University has that gematria of 247. Of course, the U.S. just turned 247 years old July 4th. And the Illuminati turned 247 years old on May 1st. Of course, the Illuminati was founded by the Jesuit, Adam Weishaupt. So yeah, every celebrity should be aware of gematria. Might add on to their life expectancy. And just to put my eyes on the chat, it says we got 56 likes. How fitting. Thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. If anybody has any additional observations, my eyes are on the chat. I guess I did remember one thing that I could have said that's noted here. Pee Wee Herman also has gematria of 118. Remember, death equals 118 in Jewish gematria. We just talked about how the two cyclists who died were 118 days apart from each other. One dead at age 44, the other dead at age 17. The one who died at age 44 died on 4/4. And then Pee Wee Herman also has gematria of 206. Sacrifice equals 206. So in Jewish gematria, death is 118. Sacrifice is 206. Again, Pee Wee Herman has both of those numbers in the name. Fateful. Yeah, the 134 stands out like the Jesuits. You're right, rising star. We are near the heliacal rising of Sirius. That could definitely have something to do with it. The heliacal rising of Sirius is very close. Rambo's done a lot of work on that. August 15th is one of the days that it's recognized as, and of course that's the Jesuit order's birthday. So that probably is, again, the just to emphasize Cody's point, the young man who died, the cyclist who died on the same day and is in the news also this morning, Magnus White, referred to as the rising star. And again, the heliacal rising of Sirius, very close. Okay. Pee-wee's Big Adventure 307, huh? Yeah, that's the movie he made, right? Let's check that one out. 307's the 63rd prime, the Illuminati 63. Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Oh, it's also 206, like Pee Wee Herman. But yeah, there it is, 307, dead on 30/7. Here, let's take a look at when that came out. That also came out in July in 1985. So we just passed the 38th anniversary. Just past the 38th anniversary. Again, death, murder, killing, RIP, all 38. Arrested at age 38. Paul Reubens, 163, the 38th prime. Yeah, great observation. Absolutely. And, you know, again, when Bob Dylan really clued us in on 60 Minutes about how, you know, like he would have never been famous had he not sold his soul to the devil and signed on the line. And then Ed Bradley had the big laugh about it and then died shortly after. I really do feel that when these people make the deal with the devils at HBO and all these other studios and networks that are part of this Jesuit cabal that pretty much run the world, because they got everybody invested in the technology and the screens and the entertainment, and that's pretty much how they run the world, through those exact things. I think when, they do that, they map it all out. That they name the title just right, and they got it planned for your planned expiration. Today's considered the Feast of Loyola. So, some of you guys might eat bread and wine to feast on the blood and body on Sunday. I think these people might really feast on blood and bodies more often than we want to know, based on how often there's these suspicious deaths. So, yeah, great observation. The Pee-wee's Big Adventure, dead on. I want to go back and see who had that observation. Who wrote that? Shout out to KE. Yeah, very good. Very good. All right, we'll keep this one short and sweet, Truth Seeker. Again, all these posts are on my website at GematriaEffect.news. If you just want the written post, might be quicker to show someone who doesn't want to watch a video. Also, big in the news today, Yellow Corp closing its doors, and their gematria is the exact same as Jesuit order. And here we are on one of the most Jesuit days in the calendar year. That's why exactly 1 year ago today, Bill Russell died in the big Jesuit murder plot, whatever you want to call it. Again, Jesuit educated in San Francisco, played for Boston, dies right after Boston loses to San Francisco in the NBA Finals. But yeah, year ago, today was the last day of the Jesuitic Nation year. But yeah, Yellow Corp, 144 and 54 like Jesuit order. All right, Truth Seeker. Thanks again to all who hit the like and the share. And see if there's any more obituaries to read later today. If so, I'll definitely be back. And until next time.